Thanks indeed for taking your time and your generosity for being here. Isto, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Benvingut y bienvenido. Isto Vanhämaki, correct me if my Finnish Suomi pronunciation is not right, please. He's the Lahti Region Development LADEC Acting Director and Business Region Development. Previously, he used to work at the University of Eastern Finland, as well as Pro Agria Rural Advisory Center. And he studied Master of Science, Geography, Tourism and Environmental Sciences at the University of Eastern Finland. And also you hold an MBA at Lab University of Applied Sciences. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
It will be a little bit shorter. Instead of 40 minutes, we are going to spend 30 qualitative minutes with you. Isto will be a kind of one-to-one, the two of us, because you are the survivor. Before going into the topic and all the questions, I would like to basically introduce a little bit the topic of major events and cities, countries, regions that are hosting these major events. We can refer to the sport tourist topic. The ministry told us before in his initial speech that around 16% of tourists coming and visiting Andorra is because of sport topics or reasons. Generally speaking, in a global basis, this 16% goes down to 10%, roughly, and we can actually differentiate 6 different types of sport tourists. First of all, the specific. I go to Andorra for skiing reasons. I go to Lahti for Nordic ski reasons, or ski jumping as well. Or I go to Bali, for example, for surfing. This is the specific. Then, events. I go to Andorra or to Lahti to attend, not to participate, but to attend sport events. Or I go to the Singapore yesterday F1 race that was won by Checo Perez. Then academies and training camps. A lot of cyclists actually are living and training here in Andorra, around 100 cyclists, professional cyclists, because this is one of the paradise when it comes to cycling. Then we have a fourth type, which is an activity at the destination. So it happens that you are in Andorra and it happens that there's a sport event. Then that's something else to do while you are visiting the destination. Then as the fifth one, you have MICE, meetings, incentives, congresses or convention and exhibition. Actually, the second Andorra Sports Innovation Summit is a clear example because you are visiting Andorra. I am also visiting Andorra and we contribute to their GDP. They really appreciate our business. And then finally, last but not least, I would say nostalgia. Nostalgia is about Hall of Fames, is about museums. You go to Lausanne, for example, the home of the IOC, International Olympic Committee, and you visit the museum. Yeah? But let's focus on the major events. There are some very, very important major events, such as the FIFA World Cup, for example. Back to 2006, Germany hosted the FIFA Men World Cup, and the economy, the GDP in Germany boosted by 0.3% only due to the FIFA World Cup that was hosted in Germany. We have other examples, for example, the cycling championship that took place in Yorkshire in 2019 generated more than 28 million euros in that part of England, of an accumulated audience, TV audience, media audience of more than 329 million. In the cross-cycling, UCI cross-cycling in Vosges in 2019 as well, 3.6 million euros. The BMX, UCI BMX in Holsten Zolder, 4.1 million euros, as well as the UCI Mercedes-Benz run in Val di Sole, 2.3 million euros. When it comes, for example, to track cycling, if we refer to Berlin in 2020, they generated around 2.7 million euros in the city and more than 100 employees. No need to mention the Super Bowls and so forth, but the Winter Olympic and Paralympic Games back to 2022 in Beijing, in China, an estimated impact of $35 billion, US dollars, as well as Pyeongchang in 2018, around $39 billion as economic impact. And then closer to this, in Sierra Nevada in 2017, the snowboard and freestyle champion, 16.1 million euros as economic impact, and the snowboard cross, SBX, also that took place in Sierra Nevada in Gran Spain in 2020, the media value was estimated in 13.6 million euros. You come from Finland, Suomi.
Yes.
By the way, Lahti is around 730 kilometers far away from Rovaniemi, where you know that Santa Claus lives. So Isto will take good note, okay, and send him a message of your behavior here for Santa Claus reasons gifts in Christmas.
Yeah.
Let's be serious right now. What are the main challenges that you foresee in terms of host cities that are hosting these major events? Isto.
If we talk about winter sports events.
Yes, sure.
So I would say that, of course, the circumstances that comes from the winter period, that's of course one of the main challenges, because all over the world, when the climate is changing, we need to consider the snow security. That's one of the most, even in our country, even we are very northern country, we still have the same problem that we might have not like natural snow during the winter time. So if we are scheduled some winter events and we don't have snow, that's a very big problem. And of course we can make the snow, like snow canoes, so we have very good snow making systems in Lahti to make the skiing tracks and the slopes for the ski jumping and everything. But then again, it comes like the environmental issues that you must use the water and then electricity. These days when we have the crisis, energy crisis, so it might have some resistance from the citizens to utilize the electricity, the rare electricity to making snow. So I think that's one of the main challenges, the environment and the circumstances of the snow.
Okay, thank you. Let's go one by one in terms of the main impacts, type of impacts. We can talk about, first of all, economic impact of hosting major events, then the tourist impact, then the social impact, including the local population, and then, last but not least, obviously, the environmental impact. Let's start by the economic impact. At Lahti, Lahti, how do you, consider all the economic impact for the major events? Actually, you are bidding for the 2029, the Nordic ski, as well as ski jumping events, championship. What's the estimation of the economic impact and how this translates to the population in terms of well-being, in terms of wealthy, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, we have actually hosted the FIS Nordic World Championship Games for 7 times in Lahti, and the first one was 1926. So we have quite long history in this kind of big events in cross-country skiing and ski jumping and Nordic disciplines. And it's been estimated that nowadays it varies from the economic impact in the region. It's from 10 to 25 million, of course, depending on the size of the event. But if we are hosting the World Championship Games, which we did last time, 2017, the estimated economic impact was like 25 million. And we had around 200,000 spectators for the whole event. Yes. But one challenge on this economic impact for us is that we have a lot of daily visitors in our city for these events, because we are so closely located near the capital city of Helsinki. It's only 50 minutes by train or car. So most of the people that are coming from the the most of the people in Finland, they are living in the capital city area, and if they come to Lahti to attend an event, they just come daily and then they go back home, so they are not staying overnight. So that's a challenge economically in our region.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the tourist impact. I've been exposed, because I'm as a consultant, to advise several destinations. I was hired by the Barcelona Olympic and Paralympic Games to undertake a survey and a project before, during, and after the Olympic Games back to 1992. Then in Beijing as well. We were recently hired by the Davis Cup by Rakuten. We need to mention the naming rights, obviously, in the sponsor, in terms of estimating also the economic and the tourist impact for, in that case, was for Madrid. We have 3 different periods of times: before the event, during the event, and I would say, which is the much more important, after the event. From a tourist impact perspective, how do you, what are the plans in order to seize the opportunity of hosting these major events before, during, and after, from a tourist from a tourist impact perspective? Yeah,
sure. Of course, the main event is important for the tourism impact. But if we think about Lahti region as a sports event, like arena, the main arena for us, it's the nature. Actually, we have the global geopark in our region. It's a very unique geological formation, which is actually formed during the Ice Age 10,000 years ago. So we can say that we started the development of our tourism 10,000 years ago. And we can say that if we get those people to see the games there, see the top athletes skiing on those skiing tracks that are actually inside the global geopark, and this status, it's very good for marketing, that the people can come there themselves and ski on the same tracks later, or experience the same natural natural environment that those top athletes are doing during the games. So this kind of legacy of the games, we can get to the next level with the tourists that come and do the skiing themselves there.
Usually for destinations that are hosting these major events, whether it would be cities or regions or countries, the peak reason is not the during the games or the event, but the after.
Yep.
Then obviously to seize the opportunity, thanks to the media audience, all the buzz, etc., to actually again take advantage of that event that took place in, and then promote the region as a sport tourist, or generally speaking, tourist destination, which is absolutely important.
And also other companies like equipment manufacturers for the skis, they have a very good opportunity to promote their equipment that are made actually in Lahti, or the training centers that we have, Olympic training centers. They can attract like more athletes to come there after the games when they have been like seeing that this is a good place to train. That's tourism as well.
Exactly. Sport equipment brands are a very significant and relevant stakeholder of the ecosystem, and they have a say. Initially, it would have a say in terms of where to locate specific and major events. That's what happened, for example, for the Olympic and Paralympic Games winter, that went to Beijing instead of Kazakhstan, which is actually a much bigger and affluent market for the industry, China compared to Kazakhstan, with all my due respects. Let's move to the third type of impact, the social, including the local population. We have seen over the last few years that several cities, when it comes to winter Olympic and Paralympic Games, have said no, the locals, to hosting them because of whatever reason. What's your opinion about the social impact, especially targeted to the local population? And what's the opinion in this case of Lahti population when you decide to bid for hosting these major events?
Yeah, of course we need to have the local people act as a community behind the games. We cannot arrange any big event if the local citizens are not supporting that. So, and actually in Lahti, if we think about this, the biggest events that we have, the Nordic Championship Games, it's like the event of the whole city. Everybody is going to see the games, so it's very uniting thing. And in Finland, it's the social impact is also very visible through the voluntary work, because we need actually many volunteers during the games that we can run the games and the event. So it's based in voluntary work, and that's one way to dedicate your time and effort to get for the event and get involved in this.
What would be your recommendation? What to say to local communities, to local population of cities that would like, as a city, to host major events, but at the end of the day, some of them are asking their electors, their voters, the population, if they want to host or not a major event. What are the pros to bid for hosting this type of event, winter sports events?
Of course, we need to think that everybody wins in the region. If you have the companies there, like we talk about the economic impact, it's always positive impact for the region. Of course, there might be also some negative impact, but that's by the good planning you can tackle those challenges, and we just need to clarify and tell the people that what is the real meaning of this, that we host these events, and how they can take part in this kind of voluntary based working or something, so that it gets the community support.
At what extent hosting winter sport major events also facilitates the task to promote the destination as a summer destination?
Yeah, of course, for example, in Lahti, the same facilities that we are utilizing for the winter sports, like the skiing tracks, they're also there on the summertime, and you can go there hiking, walking, running, biking, whatever. So it's the same terrain, same environment. And of course, we have some big events during the summertime also in the same facilities, like we have the Ironman World Championship Games coming next summer, and those competitions will be held in the same facilities that the winter sports. So we try to utilize them both summer and winter.
Okay, so let's see let's put on the table the following situation. The city, the region decides to bid, to host a major event, and then it is time to put together the bid book. What are the main requirements that, generally speaking, a federation, committee, etc., are requiring to destinations in order to provide the opportunity to a specific destination to host these winter sport events?
Well, myself, I have not been involved in this bidding process, and it's we have different kind of models to do that. It might be the city which is bidding, or it can be some company which is running license for the Ironman, for example. Yeah. And then it might be sports club. I'm actually I'm in Lahti Ski Club, which is one of the organizers of these big skiing events. So the ski club can be one of the hosting organizations, or then it can be Olympic Training Center. So it can be a combination of different kind of organizations. So of course it's very important that these organizations will work together in this bidding process, that we can have all relevant people and all important people involved, and we can do the background work and have the right connections and everything. So
exactly, it is not only about infrastructure, about equipment, about venues, but also about hostelry, for example, yeah, about communication, about airports, transportation,
Everything.
and so forth,
Yeah.
and so on, which actually implies a lot of stakeholders to be coordinated, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, when the city is mainly like investing and managing the facilities. So if we have the ski jumping hill, for example, it needs maintenance. Between all the big championship games, if we, let's say, have the championship games once in 12 or 15 years, so always you need to have some like upgrade, and it comes from the international federation that you need to have the certain standard of those facilities, and you need to invest them, so that takes money from the city, and that's one thing that we need to consider, that we have those facilities on that level that the bidding is like possible.
We're going to talk a little bit later on in a few minutes about legacy in terms of infrastructure, venue, services, etc. But let's go back just for 1 minute to the bid book. Okay, you have the bid book ready, you present the bid book, but at the end of the day, there are few people that vote which city, which region, which destination will host that specific. How important is the networking? How important is the diplomacy? I would say that the bid book is something that is necessary, but sometimes, I would say most of the times, it is not enough. Yeah. How do you see all of this stuff?
Of course, like I said, I'm not being involved in the bidding processes, but of course it's very important to have this kind of contacts. You need to travel around the world and see the people that are deciding those bids. Yeah. And that's I think of course, the basics must be in good shape, like the facilities and all the event arenas, but this kind of diplomacy, that's I think the thing that will finalize the success of the bid.
You have mentioned before some of the components of legacy. What are the plans that Lahti put in place in order to assure that the major event that you are hosting will have a legacy impact for the society, for the population, for the region at the end of the day?
Yeah, of course, all the infrastructure or the arenas and facilities that we build for the big events, they are made for the local citizens as well. So we don't have that kind of sport arena that is not allowed to go for the local citizens to do sports there, or those facilities, they are never built up only for one event. Like we have seen in the Olympic Games sometimes, that you have built very expensive facilities, and then after the Olympic Games they are like growing grass there. So we don't have that kind of, the legacy goes straight to the citizens, and of course it's also this kind of promoting sports and health enhancing activities when you see that you can go on the same, like for example the same skiing tracks than the top level, the world's best ski athletes are competing, and you can do the same. So you can feel like strong and do the sports there. So I think the most important legacy is that you can get the local citizens to do sports.
At what extent Finland, Suomi, Finland hosting this type of major events is a way to boost the performance of Finn athletes?
Of course, and in Finland we don't have that kind of mega events. We don't have Olympic Games and that, but we have like more. We have in many cities we have several smaller events that are doing the same. It doesn't need to be the biggest event in the world that you have the effect. But for example, in Lahti we have more than 400 sports disciplines presented in the area. We have the expertise and facilities to do more than 400 sports. So we can have event for all of those. So if we count one event per one day, we will have more than 350 sports events in different sports during the year. And it's also very good, of course, for promotion of the smaller disciplines in the same way. So it doesn't need to be the big event. It can grow the athletes on the smaller disciplines through the smaller events.
But at the end of the day, in a competitive landscape, from a city, region, destination perspective, you have some pros and you have some cons. So you have to decide and pick, actually prioritize the sport activities and disciplines that you are at the best, right?
Yeah, and of course, like I said, the city is, in Finland, the city normally is the entity that is managing the sports facilities. But we have very active sports clubs that can be like working for those facilities, keeping them in shape. If the city invests and then the sports clubs are actively utilizing them. So that's the combination of like city and this kind of sports clubs like societies. Yeah. And of course the companies. So the whole ecosystem must be like committed in it.
We are here at the Andorra Sports Innovation Summit, the second edition, and obviously innovation is not only about technology. It is not only about technology at all, but technology it's an important and pivotal ingredient of some of these innovations. How digital transformation can tackle some of the challenges that host cities are facing in terms of hosting winter sport events?
Well, of course, digitalization gives a lot of opportunities, but it doesn't like take away the physical event. I don't see those events that are not like in the physical world, just in the digital. Of course, esports and this kind of, that's a specialty, but I see more those digital transformation to boost our traditional events, that we can have some new applications that the spectators or the athletes can have some added value from the digital platform that is integrated in the traditional event. So of course also because TV or other devices that you can remotely follow the event, you can have there some new kind of technologies that, or augmented reality, or these kind of things that are boosting your experience. And that's also like it goes to this, you were talking about what happens before the event, during the event, and after. So that's digitalization. It's a very good tool to like enhance the experience in all of those parts.
Excellent. We have just 1 minute. We need to finish. How do you envision host cities by 2030? What are the main challenges? What are the main trends? How do you envision all this bidding war by 2030?
I think, well, we'll be talking in the next panel more about sustainability, but I think that, and my colleague from the city of Lahti will raise some good points about what Lahti is as a sustainability city and sustainable sports development. But I think that more important in every aspect of the sustainability will be when you're considering hosting the events in the future. So this kind of millions of euros putting in the facility for just one event, that's not the future. You need to think about the multi-purpose usage of those facilities and make it socially, economically, and ecologically sustainable.
Absolutely. The 3 legs of sustainability are very, very important. The 3 of them: economic, social, as well as environmental. Thanks so much indeed, Isto. It has been a pleasure. Welcome to Andorra.
Thank you very much.
And all the best for 2029. Thanks so much indeed.
Thank you.